All right. First off, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview with the Hype Magazine tonight.
Oh no, I appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, extremely excited for this opportunity. Can you tell the fans who you are and where you're from?
Man, I'm Shane Foster, aka Mr. Foster. I'm coming out of a small town in North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina, Bertie County, Western North Carolina.
Okay. Now, do you think being from North Carolina made it harder for you or easier for you to get into the music industry?
Well, that takes on a perspective of how you think about it, right? So for me, it made it easier because I had that chip on my shoulder, right? I had something to prove. People say you're not going to be to do X, Y, Z and do this and that.
Yeah.
So even from like, the age I joined the military, at the age of 17 and going from there, and then getting out of the military and going to LA, it's always going to be that doubt. Like, how did you do that? But when I tell people where I'm from, they always surprised, like, what is like a stop sign there, or they never even heard of it, or they look at it on the map. It's like, yeah, that's where I'm from. Like, I came from that.
Yeah, I love that answer because so many people they'll say, "Well, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, so we're a small town to some people's eyes," and they're like, "It makes it harder for you." I'm like, "No, it's actually better because now you have a chip on your shoulder. Like if you're gonna do this, you got to stand out amongst everybody, and a lot of times that means you're gonna have to work a lot harder than somebody else who's
Absolutely
from a
agree.
bigger market."
Perseverance is key. Yes, sir.
Now you said you joined the military at 17. What made you decide to join the military, and what service did you go into for people who's not familiar?
Oh yeah, I joined. My dad was in the military, so and it just ran in my family. My uncles in the military, they all served. My dad a servant. He did 2 tours in Vietnam, so and Gulf War. So kind of like rubbed off on me to like that's I saw the lifestyle he had after the military. I'm like, well, I kind of want to live like this too. So I ended up joining. So it just made sense for that. And then a lot of the benefits and the perks at the time when I joined, it just made sense financially and also from a growth in, I wanted to travel. I had been places, but I had never like, lived, and I think it was a great time to like start off, your adult life and be somewhere foreign.
Now, did you go to college before you went to the military, or did you go to military and then go to college after that?
I went to the military, then went to college, and then college was free. And I ended up going to some of the best schools in I'm just gonna I give the whole rundown. So I went to some of the best schools. So I started out at LA Film School, got my undergrad there, graduated summa cum laude, just like Billboard's top 20 music school. And then I went and got my master's from Full Sail, which is another Billboard top 20 school for entertainment industry. And then I just recently graduated from Harvard Business School in digital marketing strategies as well. So definitely been a journey. I ain't had to pay for nothing. So
well, congratulations on all. Yeah, I can say congratulations on all those major accomplishments. Let's highlight each one. When you're in the military and you're deciding to start to go to college, what made you decide to go film school? Were you always into making movies and videos, or what was it that grabbed your attention?
Well, they're actually a recording the music. It's just film school is the title, but they actually have a plethora of degrees under their program, and they have a recording studio, a recording school too. Which happened was they all combined together. So they have a recording school that's still a part of the school too. So I did like audio production first, and then I went from audio production to entertainment business. So then I got like the best of both worlds. And then also with that came like the relationships the school already had with like major labels and stuff. I had my first internship over at Def Jam. And then I ended up getting hired over at Live Nation. So they had like, it was all relationship based. A lot of it had to do with relationships, which kind of put me in position because like working at corporate, the headquarters of the entertainment sector with Live Nation, Live Nation Ticketmaster. So that definitely was a blessing, Def Jam being like one of the top labels, the big three right now at the time. So it just all worked out, and it's just all about like my work, my work ethic and stuff. I knew I was gonna be to shine more because I knew it wasn't school where like thousands and thousands and thousands of people, are going to be attending.
Do you think because you're coming from the military and you're coming from a college environment, that's made it easier for you or harder for you being in the music industry? Because there's a lot of business that goes on in the music industry people don't understand sometimes. So do you feel like the road you took has made it easier for you now that you're who you are in the industry and have that out that access?
I think the military definitely played a pivotal role to like my career right now, right? Because it gave me a lot of stuff like being selfless, motivation, a lot of integrity comes with me. Also, you talk about discipline, all that plays, a vital role into like, today's like, corporate a business. I call it a business world. You're a business, like, and that's what people think. Like, it's music. Yeah, I get it. At the end of the day, it's still business. And understanding that from the get-go gave me a super unique, I think it gave me a super unique advantage. Like, I'm all business. Like, it's never personal. It's never, my feelings are not involved like that a lot. It's I just take it with a grain of salt and go with this. But a lot of people, why the industry is the way it is, I feel like a lot of people take a lot of stuff personal, and it's really not. It's really just business at the end of the day. And you look at it from a business perspective, it's sometimes the best decision that people are making towards you, or whatever situation may be, where people get all bent out of shape. It's like, nah, it's business. Like, it's still a money making platform. Like, they want to make money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that definitely had I think they had more of an advantage for sure. Absolutely.
Now, you said that you went to military at 17. You're coming from North Carolina. What made you want to be in the business? Anyways, why'd you want to get started in the music or entertainment? Coming from North Carolina?
Fun thing. I have a God-given talent. My God-given talent is playing the drums. So I played the drums my entire life. So that was my God-given talent. That's how I got into the production, because it was just something that I was already good at, as far as from like understanding like music theory and understanding like, like music, and just understanding music in general as a whole, like, playing in band. I played in band and stuff in schools and all that stuff. I played in bands and I played at church. So it wasn't like, foreign. It wasn't really foreign to me. It was more like just a recap of like, all right, how do I take this and put it in a computer to make, make production, and also done like, we do like live stuff too. I work in the blues genre. I'm a part of Davis Chris, and that's our brand DFD. So it's like we do, live instrumentation and stuff too sometimes when it comes to production. So just understanding from like both angles, that was an advantage. And like I said, it was just something that I was already naturally good at, and I just stepped it up from there to there to there.
Now, when you come out of Full Sail, before you go into Harvard for the business school, who were some of your mentors or some of the people you studied to help you, figure out how you were going to make your sound, or what you were going to do when you got started?
Man, shout out to C. Michael Bray, RIP. The C. Michael Bray, that was like my biggest mentor in LA Film School, that kind of like gave me like the sauce. Like, he gave me the game from the get-go. Like, no, you need to do this. Oh, you need to set up your LLC. You need to like show me how to like make myself a business. Like, you're not just Shane Foster. You're a brand. You're a business. And I was like, I really took that in, because it was somebody I looked up to that had more success and had traveled a lot further than what they had been doing it for, over half a decade. And then moving up, I got Neil Levine. That's a great guy, man. And I know people don't remember Penalty Records with Noriega. He's the founder of that, and that's his label and stuff. He's been a great mentor. Shout out to Paul. I call him Uncle Paulie. He's great, man. He's a great mentor. Also Angel, he's working in the Latin space. Angel Zamora, great mentor. Man, it's been a lot, man. It's been a lot that's really helped me a lot along the way to like let me like know what the gist of the business is, man. Like, and just what it is, like, this is the music industry. Is this what you want to do? And like, and then not only that, like, let me lead off to like do other things outside of music too, by watching what they're doing. Like, okay, yeah, you're making money here, but like, what else? And then like, oh yeah, I got this going on. I'm investing in this and that. You should do this too. So I think that's been a great thing, a great help too, to like kind of like navigate me to like, there are other things outside of music, and it's not just, nobody really solely just makes money off just the music. Like, they have other stuff going on too as well. And that's what I'm saying, making yourself a business. Like, if you had a partnership, a brand, a brand partnership or anything like that, that's been like vital to like my success too, is like learning how to partner up, team up. And teamwork makes the dream work, right? And it's a true phrase. And not only that, just branding myself to where like my reputation precedes my arrival. Like, people might not know me, but they say, oh, DFD Music, I've seen that. And this and that. Oh, I saw an ad and it's like, yeah, that's me. I'm co-founder of that company. So that was a cool thing about like having good mentors and stuff. And it's always like a phone call too. It's like really working relationships. And a lot of it's put me in situations where I've been like, destined to win. Like, even my partner, M. who actually graduated with me, another alumni from the school I graduated from, reached out, and then we ended up doing a record with Rick Ross.
Wow.
He got a project right now coming out with DJ Drama that I was a part of, that I'm part of now too with him. So it's just like, those kind of relationships last a lifetime. And I think being in the military and like, just doing my due diligence outside the military, having that, that discipline and stuff, and, taking it really serious, not just like, oh yeah, it's just music, right? Because that's how a lot of people do. And then they realize when they stuck and they hit a ceiling, why they haven't progressed. Like, cause it's music. You're not looking at it from, it's bigger than that. It's like it's a business, a billion with a capital B.
Yeah.
So, so why wouldn't you take that serious for something that's going to potentially make millions and millions of dollars? So, yeah, that definitely has been my key to success for sure.
I love how you said that, because a lot of kids today are wondering if college is still a viable asset for them. They can go to YouTube University, they say, but I always tell them those relationships is not so much about the information you're going to learn in college. It's that person you're in the dorm with. It's that person's father that when you go to the interview, they're going to say, oh, you went to this school? Oh, that's my alma mater. And it kind of like gives you an opportunity. I know you came through Full Set, and I know there's a lot of great relationships like that. Can you give us an example where, because you went through the schooling and the training you've gone through, it opened up a door faster than had you came in without that experience?
Exactly. So key situation I'm in now with Menudo. A lot of people know Menudo from back in the day with Ricky Martin. So I am the marketing manager with them right now with the new boys, the new group, the new Menudo. That situation came from Neil Levine, who Neil Levine knew me from previous work, from schoolwork, like doing doing everything I'm supposed to do as far as like good business and stuff. And then it circled back around. He literally just called me up one day. It was like, man, I need a marketing guy. He's like, I think you're gonna be my guy. He was like, hey, check these boys out, blah, blah, blah. And at first I wasn't like, it's so funny because at first, like when you at a certain wavelength in the industry, you're like doing so much and got a whole lot going on for yourself and stuff. It's kind of hard to like stop and take a pause. So I didn't do it at first, and he hit me up again. I was like, okay, let me pause for a minute and check out what he got going on. And I checked it out and went down to Miami and stuff. And I was like, man, like this is great. And I've been with them for the last 8 months now. They just appeared on America's Got Talent. They're doing a lot of great things, right? So it's like that really came from that relationship. And if I didn't have that working relationship, it probably would have. I would have been applying like application applying like and it'd be a rat race, right? To who gets hired next, right? But and not even that, like the team was so small, like it's just a small world. Like another person on the team from when I had my internship at Def Jam, he was friends with somebody else that I worked for at Def Jam on my internship. So and he could verify like, oh yeah, that's also, oh yeah, man, he's a hard worker. He's like, man, I heard good things about you, and I had never met the dude. And it was just funny, like they didn't even know each other, on the team, but I knew both of them, outside of like before I even got onto the team and stuff. So just that's a key, a very key case in point. I'm always tell that one too, because I think that was
now Menudo, like you said, they're a legendary Latin group, and you've been with them 8 months. When you finally figured out who they were, did you understand the power they have outside of the United States? Like they're a major group.
I remember them, and it all started clicking. I was like, Ricky Martin, like I started looking at the original. I did my research and I was looking at the original band. I was like, oh, I remember they were huge. They are huge. And then outside with Colombia, Mexico, they are reputation for CJ Robert. They are rock stars, man, rock stars. So that was.
Is it hard to reintroduce? Was it hard to reintroduce them? Like they had that success back in the day. They're coming back new. When you take on this lead as the marketing manager, was it hard to reintroduce them to this new audience, or did they already have that fan base built in for you?
Yeah, it was hard. It is hard to reintroduce. We're still introducing them, right? It's still like until we get 1 billion streams on some of these records, it's always somebody that's always going to be new to somebody else. And I think that's the key thing because some people are still fans of, they're biased. I like the old. Well, I like these boys. I like this group of the Menudo, right? Kind of like with the rebranding, but then it's like, oh, I like these kids. They're a star, and like it's kind of really like building from scratch, which I like that challenge, and it's been great because we've been able to like not improvise, but like just be strategic and at the same time try new things because it's not a big market for boy bands, in today's music culture. So it's like whatever we do is going to be precedent, like versus like back when it was One Direction and all these other NSYNC and all these, man, that's back in the 90s. Now we're talking about a new era, a digital era. So it's definitely different. And I think that's been like the biggest challenge is like coming up with different ways, different innovative ways, and sitting down we're having like team meetings like 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes in a day, just to come out with like, oh, we should try this. We should do this. Yeah, I think we should do this. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's do it. And then we're doing it right. And then we might gain, another 500 fans or another, 1,000 fans. So yeah, it's been great, man. So far, so good.
So where were you when you got the call that they were going to be on America's Got Talent? And what was the response you and your team had when you found out that great news?
We're actually in Miami, and it was like an ongoing, once again, working relationship and stuff like that. So they got to do the audition. So once we knew for sure we're doing an audition, it was like wheels up, we out. Went to LA, went to LA did an audition. And that was probably the biggest, I think the biggest introduction to like the world to them was during our audition, the audition stage. And then we had like a significant, like from a data standpoint, very significant response from them appearing on that first audition. And people didn't really know, like, oh, the old Menudo's back. You know, people were commenting, oh, the Menudo's back in. You know, it just sparked the fire. And we've been rolling with it since, right? Even though they didn't make it to the final round, it still was great for them to get as far as they did in the semifinals, right? And it was still great for them, and it still gave them more, you know, exposure and stuff that, you know, they can definitely use. I call it like free promo, you know. And on top of that, we're doing other stuff around it. You know, we're doing other marketing initiatives around it and dropping singles as well. And then singles, and you know, versus most of the other contestants on the show, they're doing covers and stuff, and they're up there doing their own material, like they're doing their fresh material. So I thought that was kind of cool too. Like, and it was just a different marketing initiative too as well, to like, let's just do our own. Like, we ain't got to do a cover. We don't have to do an old Menudo record. Like, let's do, you know, what's current. And, you know, if they like it, they like it. They don't, they don't.
It's dope you did that, because we know in the music industry right now, everything's moving to content-based promotions and marketing. So now your content is Americans Got Talent. You can clip moments of the show.
Exactly.
And you can get reactions of fans going crazy and use that for your,
Exactly. So you're talking about in a digital space right now, and you're looking at a digital real estate space, and that's what I'm really heavy at on the digital marketing side is the more content, the better. And the better the content, the better, you know, the results are going to be too when you're promoting around it too, or whatever your call to act, your CTA, your call to action, whatever it's going to be around that content. It's going to be way better, because like, whoa, people know TV and movies when they see it, you know. As soon as you get that snap on your phone, you're scrolling, whatever, you're like, oh, what's that? You're like, ooh, who are these? You know, it just drives the intuition, you know, like the intuition of a person, like this human nature. Like, you just like get intuitive, be like, oh yeah, who's that? Okay, what is that? And then you might become a fan, like, oh, I like this little kid, right? Or I like this, you know, I like this particular member of the band, right? And then you just, you know, this is the ongoing thing, and you know how it goes. Like, and I like that. I think that's been a great thing too. And I always tell people that any opportunity, it doesn't matter how big or small it is with the boys, we make it larger than life from a marketing standpoint, because like, oh, Hard Rock Cafe, boom, promoting flyer, this ad info, you know, everything, you know, it's a whole full driver around it. And it's not just we pick and choose, it's really like everything. And I think that's a lot of things, a lot of artists, they try to get those aha moments, and they only promote the aha moments instead of like the whole journey. And the fact that we promote through the journey, that makes it more, you know, authentic, and more people want to, oh man, like they started out here and I've been watching them for the last couple of months, and you know, just watching the growth. You know, a lot of people like to go be a part of the journey. And you think about a lot of artists, I mean, we all follow artists on the journey. I think I look at a couple of rappers now, like Moneybagg Yo is one, and it's like a lot of people remember. I remember him when he first got started and stuff, and you know, just watch him grow and to be the artist that he is now. So the same thing with it was like with you know, just all these artists out there like that, man. Like if you watch them grow, it's just, it hits different for sure.
No, you're right. Yeah, like if when you get to catch an artist early on in their career, you start to feel involved in their career. You start to watch their successes. Like you feel in tuned in that. It's really dope. Now, was this the first time you did a TV show like this, or have you done this before?
This is the first I've been a part of artists that's been like on major television. I want to say work with pretty big artists.
What was the biggest difference when you started being on the show versus what you anticipated? Like as a fan, we watch it on TV and we think it goes this way, but now you're behind the scenes, you're actually involved in the show. Was there something?
Oh, it's a lot of work, man. Across with everybody, from the producers, from the TV show, a lot of hush. Like it's quiet. You got to be quiet, and that's the biggest thing too. Is like, man, you be want to say like, we're gonna be on TV, like when you know, right? But you got to be quiet because you know it is what it is. Like the NBA and everything, like you got to be quiet about certain stuff until it's actually happening, and that way you gain the most momentum. So I think that part was like kind of cool, like seeing it from that perspective. Like, oh, that's why you gotta, because you don't know what's like when you're talking about production and stuff. You don't know what might happen, or stuff can literally just shift and be like, whoa, they ain't even going on now, or they, you know, they got moved this time, right? Yeah, I'm just not saying that it happened, but like it can happen. So it's like when you're dealing with like that, something that significant, that big, it was kind of cool to like learn something different. Like, oh, this is why they do this, and this is why you do that. You know, just seeing it from behind the scenes. I thought that was kind of dope too.
I seen that when you decided to leave the military, you spoke to your recruiter or somebody who, you know,
Man,
made
it's
that
so amazing,
decision. You said,
man.
"I'm leaving the military to get into music," and they laughed at you. So what moment have you had that made them call you and say, "Okay, you were right. My bad. Like you made the right." Like has
They
anybody
ain't gonna
called you
do
yet
that,
and
man.
said,
It's
you know, you made the
prideful,
right
man.
decision?
That'll never happen in the military, bro. That'll never happen. It's the pride, but I know they look at my story. I know they see what I got going on for sure. Trust me, it's evident. You know, we can see. We know when you can see them in your stories. They don't like a comment or nothing. Like, yeah, but that's just the chip I had, and I'm glad that happened because that gave me like that extra fire underneath my you know, that fire I needed under me. Like, I got something to prove now because they laughed and was like,
Yeah.
why would you get out to go do that? Like that literally was like, I was like, what? Instead of like, congratulations, like, but
Yeah.
that's just the culture sometimes in the military with certain leaders, right? They just think that there's no life outside the military. And I just knew there was
Yeah.
more to it than like I knew it was more than this than the military. And I had a great military career, so I'll never like shun or talk bad about it because I was a paratrooper and that's like 1% of it's even more elite than the elite, right? So it's like, you know, 1%, other 1%. So it's like I had a great career, like far as from that. But it's just like when it comes to some of the leadership, it was kind of toxic. And you know, it is what it is. You eat it with a grain of salt. And I'm glad that I see now is a lot of people getting in trouble and all this stuff that's in high rank. I'm like, she's like, I'm glad I might have dodged that bullet, man, because it's more sensitive. Like we're in a more sensitive world now than back. A lot of stuff that happened when I was back in, you probably won't even get away with. Like that happened with me, probably would never happen no more. Like not today's army, not today's military, because it would be like deemed harsh and you know, like oh
Yeah.
my god, you're not sympathetic, right? You know, like you know, we're in a different culture now, cancel culture. We're in a cancel culture, so people are, and you looking at the army like you know, just the military in general, they're a brand, and they're gonna
Yeah.
stand on their brand. They're not gonna let nobody or anybody interfere with it. And
Yep.
you know,
They
that
got
taught
that
me a lot
brand.
too. Yeah, they taught me a lot too about branding. Like early on, not really understanding. It was like, well, that's why we do this and that and stuff a certain way. And it was like, oh, it's because we're a brand. Like we represent
Yeah.
something bigger than ourselves. All right. When
Yeah, people
people
don't
think
realize military is a corporation too. Like, you mean it's a branding
absolutely,
situation. You have to wear your logos a certain way. You have to walk a certain way because they need to
yep.
know when
Got
they're
to talk a
coming up.
certain way. You got to email a certain way. You can only say something a certain way. You can only talk to so many different people a certain way. So yeah, definitely. You when you apply that, you look at entertainment. It's like man, like well, when I my first actual real job outside of military was, you know, corporate. So it's like when I got to the corporate on the entertainment, I was like, sheesh, like this is just like the military. Like, it's damn near identical. Like I'm looking at it like from a identical standpoint, as far as like, you know, just getting the job done. That's always the end goal with
Yeah.
any, and I just realized that's just a business ethic, a good business quality to have. Like just get it done. Like get it
Now I
done.
know you do a
Execute.
lot for military people in your community. Can we highlight some of the things you're doing to give back to the military or to uplift, you know,
Oh
your
man,
fellow
so we have a
soldiers?
yeah, we have a nonprofit DFD Music Foundation, and me and my partner Davis Chris started up. We do back to school drives, man. We do Christmas drives every year.
Dope.
We do just Mother Day stuff. We do just stuff all like whenever around, and not just towards like aim towards veterans, but also just people just veterans. You, I volunteer a lot of my time to Grammy U to like mentees. I volunteer myself to Boys and Girls Club. I had like two graduate from the Boys and Girls Club. That were my littles. We call littles. They graduated from high school, so it was just great. Like you know,
Dope.
being a part of like a lot of people's journeys, and you know, like that's the greatest thing. Like that's the reason I really like this. It's like you really get to be a part of the journey, and when you're part of the journey, like you know, I call it immortality. Like my name's in concrete, not as sin, right? Wherever it goes, like I'm gonna be a part of that story or that.
Yeah.
So I like that part of it. And that's the biggest thing for the foundation. It's like really being a part of people's stories. Like I remember like one time I thought it was like it felt like it was falling apart. You know, we were trying to plan and get donations and so many
Yeah.
like little, you know, legal loopholes. You can't do that. You can't, you know, intermingle funds and stuff like that. But like end up making it happen. And like went to this family. I remember it was like 30-some families at this it's kind of like a shelter type place, and we showed up with all that stuff, man. It probably changed some kids' lives forever, right? And then you can just hear
Yeah.
like people are tagging in, what's your ID? What's this? Not knowing who we are, right? And then I think one time on my birthday, I was just random gesture. I hit my partner. I was like, man, you know what I want to do? Because my birthday is on Thanksgiving. I was like, man, we should just like buy everybody groceries in the store. And we pulled up at a
Wow.
Kroger's, and we got like all these gift cards from the Kroger. I talked to the manager of Kroger's, and we just Melinda, shout out Melinda Santiago. She got it. She was like she's a good friend of mine. She was like, that's Bobby Valentino, man. And she was like,
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it's a birthday. You want to do this? Like, I want to be a part of that. I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm about to go get these gift cards. So we got the gift cards, and later as people coming through, we're like just swiping the gift cards. You know, that's that loophole. You can't like really do hand over cash like that, right? And you with the credit too. Yeah. The tax service, but it wasn't for that reason, but just to, CYA all the way across. We're like swiping gift cards and like paying people, just making people they randomly just shopping, trying to get that last minute stuff, and then they have to spend, XYZ on whatever. So and that was great. Like people were crying, like people were just like, oh my God, like just holding you tight, hugging. I was like, man, this is a great, like, and I just did it just because I wanted to do it. Like I remember growing up, I grew up poor. So I remember we didn't have like Thanksgiving and we didn't have Christmas and stuff. I remember we was drawing Christmas trees on the wall for the Christmas tree. So yeah, it felt great to like it feels great to give back. And that's always been my biggest thing, is like always giving back every year. We just did a back to school drive. We always got something about to do with things. It's about to be that time of year. Thanksgiving might do something for Halloween and definitely for Christmas for sure.
So, yeah, I salute you on that, giving back. And like you said, there's no better feeling than helping some little kid that they're going to remember that for the rest of their life. Like they might not remember your name, might not remember all the details. They're just going to know someone came, God sent an angel to them to give them something they needed when they didn't have it. And then that'll give them the spirit of helping out other people's and stuff like that.
And it's like, that's the good thing too, right? It's passing as a great example to society. Like if all society like that, yeah, we'd probably be in a better place, but unfortunately, we're not in the perfect world, but that's just like, this is my soft spot for it. Think about certain military, so I have some kind of selfless and, a lot of selfless in me. And, I had to be that way for so many, for a complete stranger. Think about it from that standpoint. It's like I joined, I went, I did 5 deployments overseas to Iraq, so it's like, it's over somebody, like it's for a complete stranger. Like I didn't do it for me. I did it because, I just bring in something bigger than myself. So, I look at it from that same point too.
Now you recently graduated with you're still gaining more knowledge, you're gaining more accolades, throughout your life. You just did the real estate course. So what made you decide to get into real estate, and how great does it feel to be a part of the legendary Keller Williams operation now?
Absolutely, man. So let me tell you about this real estate, right? And this is something I wish I'd have like learned, with technology earlier, right? It's forever going to be that people always need somewhere to stay.
Yep.
Whether it's an apartment, whether it's i.e. you want to buy a house or anything. And I just thought, man, this would be a great field to like, once again, help people, right? Because not even that, I do have authorized, I can do credit too as well. So I am a CRO, certified CRO too. So it's like I can fix people credit and help them get in their first home, and not just help the people. I have a specific, like my why is like to really help minorities and felons, get into and get into their first home. Like that's my biggest why I did Keller Williams. Like they have the most, broadest network, and then also technology training and all that stuff. And that, it's learning. It's like it's learning. It's kind of hard. I mean, learning something new, but like I passed state exam and all that stuff. Got certified all that. So all that was a journey. And then too, like even when I went back to Harvard, it's like for digital marketing, I want to learn more. Like this is a constantly evolving field with marketing, with technology. So you want to stay at the best. And once again, too, the network. Now I'm an alumni forever, right? I can always like reach out and like, hey, I'm alumni from blah, 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 blah. This class, XYZ. And that's the way I looked at it from that standpoint. Like I can always just reach out to a broader band of people. And then also with Keller Williams, like in the real estate space, like reach out to a broader band of people that just think different than you think. When it comes to, wealth, real wealth, generational wealth, that's in real estate.
Yeah. They've been doing it for a while. Yeah. I seen you were talking about 7 streams of income. So let's highlight that a little bit. You become a real estate agent, and now you're understanding the different ways to generate income that people miss out on. What are those ways, and why do you think people don't have that knowledge yet about how easy it is to start those?
It's not really about like not having the knowledge, right? Hold on, I got to see exactly. I remember exactly what I said, but because there's so many, it's a lot of different ways, but I narrowed it down to 7. But the biggest thing is like people buy homes, right? So when you buy a house, a house always going to raise in value. It's not going to depreciate. It's never going to depreciate unless the market crash again, which that's very slim to none, right? So the house not depreciate, always going to raise in value. So whether you buy it and you keep it for 5 years, 10 years from now, you're going to make money from selling or moving it, right? Then you got selling. You sell your house has a lot of equity. Maybe the house is paid off, you make money again that way. Then investing, like you talk about multifamily homes, you talk about apartments. Now I'm looking at an investment standpoint, tax lien and deeds, stuff like that. Renting, everybody's going to rent. Managing, you got property management that falls under real estate. Flipping it, taking a house, fixing it up, and reselling it. Buying a house for like 30K, putting 10K into it, and be able to sell it for 160K. Right? I'm just throwing numbers out there. Nobody call me on that. Like, this guy's got some crazy math. No, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you could buy, fix, and flip. And then also, what do people want to do? They want to learn more about it. Like, how is he doing it? Now you got a consulting fee. Now you come with a fee. You know, you want to have a conversation. I'm busy. I'm hand over fist, with transactions. And it's a very busy, okay, now I charge for a consult. So like, that's why I'm looking at for like the 7 ways to really make money. I was like, you think about it, it's not really a lot of professions out there where you can just say, outside the music, because in the music industry, you can make a lot of money too. Like for me, it was like, for the music industry, it was, I do the consulting. I'm always like marketing consultant or marketing manager or something, right? And then you're looking at production. I'm in production, engineering, still engineering, songwriting. You want a songwriter. Then also music reviews. People always want music reviews. They always want to say that the dopest, hardest rapper in the real. Like, can you listen to my music? And then, I realized, okay, even within the music, you can make a lot of income if you build the accolades up enough to where people respect you. And they go like, yeah, he's worth paying XYZ because he's already done it. He's already had that much success. Yeah. So, and that was just something I learned early on too. And I was like, well, it's a little bit harder because music is subjective at the end of the day. And people might not feel like, I don't need to pay for that. I'm just going to be who I am. But I know with real estate, guess what? It's just a universal language. Everybody needs something, a house or somewhere to stay or something, right? Or, it's universal. I feel like that might be an easier, not saying that it's easy, but I just feel like it's a more for sure, like, I'm going to make, money several different ways. And you can sometimes do it in one transaction for what I've been hearing from, like learning from other people, like, sheesh, like they all a part of it, right? So it's like, yeah, this works out. So that's been like kind of like the cool thing about it. And then that's the reason I get it. I encourage anybody. I'm not the first producer artist. Like I said, I learned from predecessors, other people I know, and they maybe not, they don't want people to know me. I want people to know because that's just who I am. That's my brand. It's like, I want people to know, like, you want to do this, you can do this too. I'm doing it. Like, you can do it. So just looking at it from that standpoint and like just what, like I said, other people that predecessors, the people that had success, and I look at how their lifestyle and, the biggest asset that we all have is time. And what I realized, money is just a tool. So using money as a tool to invest, to do X, Y, Z is always going to give you more time. Yeah. So that's
and if you understand how it works, not getting too much into it, but if you own a home, you can leverage that home. You don't always have to use cash for situations when you have a property of that source that can give you more money than what you should have. So a lot of times people just think of it, you get that buying power. They think of it as a transactional purchase, but it's a life-changing investment if you do it the right way. You can leverage it and all that stuff. Now, you mentioned success and accolades. We see behind you got Billboard plaques on the wall. How did you get your first Billboard plaque, and what was that experience like for you?
Man, me and my partner Davis Chris, man, shout out that. This is during COVID, right? We sat on the phone for, I want to say 6 hours. So first Spotify show, the song got picked up on the editorial, right? Just randomly, just put the record out. Spotify picked it up. We did the pitch, we did our due diligence on that, and it was like, we got to do some marketing. Then we sat down and we started doing marketing. Next thing you know, the record charted on Billboard. I think like 2-3 weeks went by. Then it charted on Billboard. We like, all right, we got something. Like, we got a system, and that's what got me more into the marketing. Where we both knew, me and my partner both knew about it. But we was always like outsourcing, like, all right, I'm gonna pay you XYZ to do this, XYZ to do this, radio, all that this. I'm gonna pay, we're gonna pay. And we realized you can really do it yourself. You just gotta micro focus on it, and actually have a rollout plan. It was like, all right, like, let's do it. So it wasn't a fluke. We did it again, like, good rollouts. And once like your fan base, your target, like I always say, your target audience. Once you know your target audience, just keep giving them what they want. And this is a simple, and this is a formula we came up with. And like, it's not just formula, it's a formula of life, right? If you got 1,000 people spending $100 with you, how much is that? 6 figures. I don't know nobody not happy without 6 figures. And if I'll probably giving out too much sauce. They probably go, hey, look on my show. They might look on my show like, you're giving them too much sauce. But if an artist sat down and really thought about it from that perspective, they can make money. There's so many artists that make money that you never really hear about, but they're happy. You know,
Yeah, they make a lot of money that you never heard about. Yeah.
making six figures a year doing shows and weddings and all these different ways, streams you can make money in the industry. And I think that, yeah, I guess it would that probably get oversaturated. Everybody figure out the code, but it really, I mean, it's like I said, with billions, that's a lot of money with a capital B. And like out of that, a good 30% are independent. And people think like, oh, it's just labels, the majors. I've been around people. I'll be in awe. I'll be like, what? Yeah, I do weddings and I tour. I got a partner that tour weddings. He makes damn near almost $200K a year, like just performing at weddings, doing records, covers, and doing his own records and some of his own records too. I'm like, man, like that's amazing. Like that's just amazing. And I mean, it was still like, you still had a working grind to it, but like I say, he just had that mindset. Like if I get so many people to really rock, he good, talented.
I think Grant Cardone did it. He showed something, and there was like 6 different ways to make $1 million. Everybody focuses on the $1,000, the $10,000. But what if you do $1 a person, sell 1 million items for $1? You made $1 million. We get caught up in those bigger splashy,
bigger metrics. Like I need 1 million people to rock on my song. I need 1 million streams. And that's another whole conversation. But you really don't like if you can sustain a good life. If you got if you quantify, you start quantifying the numbers and lowering it, and you're like, oh man. And that's what happens. A lot of people don't have those SMART goals, and that's why they get stuck. They're chasing 1 million people, but they ain't focused on the 10 that really rock with them. And they ain't focused on the 100 that's gonna pull up, buy merch, tea, and spend money with them every time they post a link. And I always tell people that you really want to test your things, post it. Every time I post a link, and I'm do metrics and analytics. At least 4,000 or 5,000 people click on that link. Just throwing it up, not even saying nothing. Now imagine when I say, hey, Lincoln, not saying link in my mobile. Hey, CTA, call to action. You see some good creative content, and then that link's at the end. You click on it. Imagine what happens then, right? Now you're more.
With you being a marketing manager as you are, how are you staying? So Instagram just updated everything again. Like you just mentioned, we're not saying link in bio no more. You got to say call to action. Like, how are you keeping up with all these new changes that are coming through social media and the constant changing of the music industry as well? Because we're going through a major renovation right now.
Yeah. Reading. Yeah. I'm big on reading. And that's one of my strong suits. A lot of people don't like to read. And research. So I would say R&R. So I call it R&R. Reading and research. That's my biggest thing. Every morning, I don't get on my phone and go on a timeline and look at goofy shit. I get on my phone and I read something that's going to bring value. I subscribe to all these different platforms that like put out, the latest and greatest, like Billboard Pro. I know I pay my $19 there, and I pay another $20 to another platform for this, another for that. And now I'm in the real estate, I'm paying for these other different platforms to get that information, right? So it's all about like how much information can you attain and how much can you research? Because then like one thing about people, you can't argue with quantifiable data. Yeah. In the music industry, the same way, and the same thing with art. It's quantifiable. Like when every time Instagrams, I always like know right before it's about to happen, like kind of because I'm reading, they're talking about it, it's hype about it, it's something about it. It's like, let me pay attention or let me grade a ship. And that's why I went back for it. Another reason why I went back for it is I got to learn some more stuff. And now it's cool because now I can always like the cool thing about going to college, a lot of these programs now, they realize that it's such an evolving rhythm. You can go back and retake a course because now it's been updated and don't have to pay nothing. Like they call it, like, I forgot what they call it, but like you can literally go back through the course again. Like, hey, it's changed. It's been 2 years. I need to come back through your course. No problem. Sign you up. You take the course again. Don't cost you anything, right? Because you were already vested the first time, but they know that it's a constantly evolving market. So you want to, they want to, you're a reputation of their brand. If you go to a job and you F up and they go, what school you went to? I went there. Damn, y'all some dummies, right? Yeah, but they never say that. If you think about Full Sail, like if you hear Full Sail, you go, and that's like a good third of the industry I know that's graduated from Full Sail. So you hear that, you like, you're about to get some quality work done. Yep. And that's why I like the school, like and for that, you got to represent. So they're going to make sure they're doing everything, their due diligence, to make sure you got the part because you're representing them, because that's what people going to ask. Like, where you went to school at?
Now, you have a free consultation offer right now. The first 30 minutes is free. How do people sign up for that? And, what kind of information are you going to be providing to them if they do take advantage of that?
Man, that's a little promo thing I'm doing right now, because these DMs sometimes get too out of control. Comments get out of control. Text messages, phone calls turn into something. I'm like, you know what, man? If I could weed out all of that, if I'm like, look, you want to pick my brain and ask me $50 million, like something I invested my time and stuff into,
Yeah.
just pay for the consult, right? And it isn't even really about the money. It's about the respect that you should have for me, right? Because what I realized about a lot of people, familiarity brings disrespect. When people are familiar with you, they watch, they are part of your journey. If they're not a part of it, but they watch you go through your journey, they feel like they're, entitled to like, nah, you should tell me, like, I was in class with you or it is. I'm like, nah, bro, like it ain't that no more. Like you've evolved so much, and sometimes people can't fathom that when they're too close to you. They don't see you like the rest of the world sees. So what I know about, like I said, when I put up, it's on Calendly. You really can click on my link, click on the website Calendly, and it kind of breaks down like what you want to talk about, and then you put in your notes like, I want to talk about this because it's such, now I've done such a broad range of different things. Like people want to sometimes, hey man, tell me about the credit. Like I got this, like I got this. I'm like, all right, man, you got a book conf. Like I could break that down to you. Or hey man, tell me about how you get how you set up an ad on Google. Like how did you integrate your pixel onto, like, and they're asking all these tech questions. Like, hold on now. Because they're gonna pay somebody else. Don't let nobody fool you. They'll pay somebody else, but they're gonna come to you first to see if they can get the sauce for free. And then I don't take it personal. If they go pay somebody else, fine, cool. You still pay somebody to do it.
And the crazy thing is, your friend will come to you. Your friend comes to you, and you're the expert. Everybody knows you're the expert. You're deemed the best there is. But if you tell them a price, they'll go to somebody else and pay more because, like you said, they're familiar with you and they just don't believe it's you. Like, I know you. You can't be who they're saying you are. Like, no, I really do this shit.
Right. That's what it is. Like, and it's just a human complex, and it's cool. Like that's why I like learn how to, like, I be reading like different books and stuff, and it's learning like how to separate yourself and how to make yourself less accessible. So that's why I started doing it. Like instead of people being in the call, like click that link, and then people hit me, I send them the link. I got it on auto. It's already on automation. That's why I love technology now. Like I got it on automation. Whenever you say certain things in my DMs or whatever, you automatically get that link, and then they know what time I'm on, right? And then, not to be fair, people that respect me, like I realize they respect me. I'm talking about, I have friends like I see every day, and they're like, man, we gotta set up that console, man, because I got 50, and they do it, and they end up doing it, right? And then we have a conversation like, damn, like I feel like damn, man, you saw stuff, because we're not having those conversations as friends. We're talking about, life. We're talking about different stuff. We're not talking about a profession or, what I'm doing on a day to day, and that's just what we do as human beings. So they realize, like, dang, all right, this is worth it. Like, you really do sauce me. And then the cool thing about that is when they do that, they might have a certain leverage. Somebody, they can call me back, like, like they ain't gotta pay no more because they have already, shown like some kind of gratitude. Like, yeah, I respect you, so I'm gonna pay XYZ. And now you can have a conversation like next time they see you. Hey man, like, hey, you showed me this, but what does this mean? Oh yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah,
right. That's normally how it goes.
Yeah.
Versus most people, you can't get that. You can't get that call back. You got to set up another console. You didn't pay attention. You wasn't ready.
Yeah, you got to pay
a
again.
lot of times when people want a console, they don't even be ready for the information they're about to receive. And information is only information. It's all about application. If you're not applying yourself or you're not, executing at a certain level, it don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Anything I tell you don't mean nothing.
I can give you the steps. I can give you 10 steps to be successful in life, but if you won't do step 2, there's nothing else going to happen. Like people would say, you gave me all this information, but nothing changed. Like, well, did you wake up in the morning and make your bed every day like we told you to build the habit of being successful and accomplishing something? If you won't do that step, then you're not going to do this. Like it's a harsh reality, but people who are successful because they do the work.
And accountability, right? So that's the one thing I start feeling sorry for myself too, because I got to a point I was like, I used to feel sorry for myself. Like, now let me just go, let me figure it out. Like, all right, and I always say, like, my biggest thing about always believing and investing in myself is I'd rather spend $20,000 on something and learn and get the tools, whatever I need, right, than make a $50,000 mistake. That's craziness. And people do it. I watch people do it all the time. Like, that's nuts. I don't have that kind of risk. I like to be risky and I like to take risk and gamble and bet on myself, but not when it comes like that. This stage, I ain't trying to lose no 50 grand. I'd rather, like, how much it costs to do this? Oh, 20. And then the other mindset I have to that is not like, how much is, I can't afford not to do it.
Yeah.
I can't
that is the secret. That's the secret to success. Like, if you ever study any of these people, they tell you the people who are successful, they pay the cost to get the information fast. They pay the cost not to have mistakes along the way. It might cost you 10,000 to sit in this room and learn from Warren Buffett. So you can pay the 10,000 and learn directly from him, or you can nickel and dime your way through this process.
And spend
every
twice
time
as
you
much.
do it, you get bad information.
Yep. And you're gonna, like I said, making a mistake. A $50,000 mistake could be detrimental if you only got 50,000. You feel me? So you back at square zero.
Now, you just dropped a new song with Gucci and Diggity Don. How did it feel or how did you guys get Gucci Mane in the first place? I know he's not releasing a lot of new music lately. So how did you guys get the feature? And how's it feel to know you got this dope song? You guys,
I can't give out that secret sauce, but I'm gonna say the key word we've been talking about again: relationship. You never know who knows somebody.
Yep.
And how you treat somebody, and that's the biggest thing. My biggest takeaway I like to give people is treat people with dignity and respect. Treat people how you want to be treated. And I'm a firm believer of that, because you never know how that's going to circle back around and how you make somebody, like, people, they'll forget all the stuff you do. Like, you could do 1,000,001 things. They'll forget about that stuff over time, right? But people will never forget the way you make them feel. And that's what I'm gonna say on that situation. People will never forget. So you never know how you're like, I want you to be, because you, at that time when I did something, you made me, I want you to be a part of this. Like, what do we need to do to make this? I'm like, well, that was a call I had to get. Like, let's make this happen. Hell yeah, like that. Let's go. So that's what I'm gonna say on that. And that's the sauce of that. It's like, just have the relationships with the right people, man, and treat, like I said, I always get people to do the others in respect. I don't never shun nobody. And I've been shunned on a lot, and I can reverse that energy and be like, oh no, you didn't pay your dues. And this, like, people always do all that. It was like, I remember that. Yeah. And it's so funny because in the industry, it's a small circle. When you get to a certain level, you start seeing the same. Like I just told you, in case in point, with the whole situation I have in Menudo, small circle. People know, they might not know each other, but you might be the called 6 degrees of separation. You might know this person, you might know that person. They don't know each other, and then now the dots are all connected now, because they all, like, we all know each other now. And it might be, hey, I worked with you back in the day, work for this person. It becomes that, like, and a lot of people, I'm so glad that happened to me, because it let me know, like, all right, I've been doing the right thing, because people take notice. They go, man, I've been watching you, been consistent, like consistent. Taking L, you post though. I don't just post the good, I post the bad. Like, took another L, yeah, they did this, or such and such this, bad deal, or whatever the situation may be. And then I just, I show my perseverance from it, because the one thing about me, I'm always going to try something, and I'd rather fail at it once, than and learn, because I don't look at it as failure, I look at it as a lesson. I learned something, or it can be a blessing. It can fail and just be something great comes from you failing too. A lot of people don't believe in that too, but it's true. You can fail at something, and great things can happen from that.
Now, do you have any upcoming? We mentioned the song that you just released with Gucci Mane, but any other releases or projects coming up from you and your team that we can circle on the calendar for you?
My partner Davis Chris, he dropped a song on the 6th. Y'all gotta go check it out. He got a partner. He got to go to I am Davis Chris. He dropped his record on the 6th, so definitely that. I got the DJ Drama. That's done. I got that with my partner N. Taylor. He got him and DJ Drama. I'm part of that project, so that's great. We got the Grammys coming up, so I'm waiting to see what happens with that. So that's
I seen the picture. So
yes, it's about that time. We got some submissions in the mix, so we'll see what happens, what shakes on that after the first round of November. So that's kind of like really about it. It's a lot going on, but it's not a lot at the same time. But it's really just self-paced. We're about to hit the fourth quarter, so I know how the industry works. So I'm just kind of like, repurposing, like, where I can, like, what's going to make sense, moving forward for the rest of the year.
From your viewpoint, because you've been successful, like you said, you interned with Def Jam, so I know you know the ins and outs of how the industry works. Like you said, do you think we're still going to have shutdowns in the fourth quarter like we used to, now that we've moved more into a 24-hour content situation?
I think I always call it cleaning house, right? You got to look at, like, from a budget, from a business standpoint, right? You got to you got to trim the fat. You got to trim the fat. You can't be successful if you're overpaying this, or spending too much there, or not doing enough here, right? You got to trim the fat and and tighten up. And that's one thing I like about corporate. I learned is, like, that fourth quarter is really when they start revamping everything, and that's your opportunity. That could be a win opportunity, or it can be a losing opportunity. I say it's a love-hate relationship. So, but, like, it could be the greatest time, like fourth quarter. Like I said, that was the time when we charted. I think the first time we charted a Billboard was that, no, actually it was on the summer on COVID. And then the second time I charted twice back to back, that was in the fourth quarter. So just paying attention and just paying attention to metrics and what's going on. It's like, oh, like this is our window to like let's do this then. All right. And then we just do it. And we, you know, it wasn't always a W, but it was like, you know, for the stuff that made sense, like, okay, you know, it's whatever the people still decide at the end of the day. A lot of people don't understand that. You just got to take it with a grain of salt. Like, okay, it's not a record for them, but it's always for somebody. So once you find out who it's for, just keep promoting and work towards that person. Like it ain't for everybody. Music ain't for everybody. It's the most subjective product in the world, and it's the hardest product to sell in the world because you're thinking about it for like people don't want music. Yeah, they might want to hear music, but they don't really want it. And it's really kind of forcing. You think about it like how you're taking music. It's really kind of forcing. Like, listen to this, and you hear it enough. You're like, all right, let me hear it. Or something start trending on TikTok. You're like, what's this record about that's going, you know, 1 million views on TikTok, right? That's how we taking music. But say it's i.e. you go in the Home Depot, you need that drill bit. You go right in the Home Depot. Hey, with a 1/8 drill bit. You go right. It's there because you need it, right? And even if you saw, as soon as you go in Home Depot,
no comments, no reviews about it or any of that. Yeah,
all them ads pop up talking about these drill and all these different other drills. Like, I could have had this one. You know, now you might end up buying another product because it's happened. We all do it. If you're a real consumer, like I'm a consumer, and the reason I like to be consider myself a consumer is then I know how to sell.
Yeah,
like,
facts.
What made me go buy it? What made me do this? Like, what piece of advertisement did I see that was like, man, I kind of want this, you know? Because it's happened. Like, I'd be like, I went to buy this, and then now the cool, newer looking, sleeker product that does more features than the little one I went there to buy because you know you're familiar with that brand and that product, and you go, oh man, I need this one, and then you order it, and then it's your show.
Now, you mentioned your team a few times. How important is a team to you, and who are some of the members that make your team work?
My team, we too deep behind the laptop. My biggest team is me and my partner, Davis Chris, man.
Okay.
And the thing that makes it work is we communication. That's always been key. Having the same goal and mindset. That's always been key. And our ability to just execute and make it happen. And like, we're going to we're going to do this. Not like, it might not. We doing it. We already said we're doing it. We're going to keep going until we get to it, and we're going to do it. So that's been like the greatest thing about having a team, and then other people that's been in and out, you know, around our team. But the most consistent has been, he's the most consistent person I work with in the whole industry. So I'm always going to shout out Davis Chris. We've been rocking out for the last seven years. Like,
oh, wow.
5+ years. Yeah. 5+ years. And it's so funny. The way we met, guess where we met? In college.
Full Sail.
No, we met at LA Film the very first day.
LA,
We met the very first day at LA Film. They had this orientation, so they had like this little party. They have like, you know, a whole lot of stuff going on, right? Orientation, you know, I'm new to college. Me and him, they was like, well, you can go down to the studio and talk to some of the instructors. And there's me and him were the only two that went down to the studio, which is down the street, down Sunset Boulevard. Walked down there, checked out a room, and I think we sat there for like 3-4 hours trying to get. We didn't know shit about no boards now, right? We was in there 3-4 hours just trying to get, and we just got sound to come through it, right? But that just showed like each other, like, damn, like he really about this. He really want to do it. And then we start talking more, like, oh, you ex-military? Yeah, I'm ex-military too. We both veterans, so that was like a new thing. That's why we had that just natural, like, yeah, we're gonna get it done. And then we just started, you know, building from there. And then like we had a lot to prove to each other, like, yeah, you should really rock me. No, you should really rock me. It was always, you know, it's a friendly competitive. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stay up to like, you know, 2-3. Like I said, we sit on the phone 6-7 hours, coming over marketing plan, typing out ideas and researching. Like, nah, that didn't work for this artist. Oh yeah, this worked for this artist. You see, so did this. You know, we literally sat there and did that for hours and like came up with a plan and just executed. And that's just something that nobody can ever take away. And nobody can ever tell me like this person better than her. Like, I'm always right with him because he just always showed his, you know, like he really like about it. Yeah, he's put the work in. And when he's seen me put the work in, I be fall asleep with my face in the laptop, trying to, like, you know, coming from an internship, and I'm in the studio, full music blast, and I'm tapped out, laptop in my lap, done. So it's been nice, you know, like we get to see each other's side, and we've been at stoplights, and my partner be driving, like we're driving back to wherever, and he sleep at a stoplight because he's just so tired now because we don't drink, like he don't drink or smoke, none of that, like he just tired, exhausted. Like just like beat exhaustion for like, you know, just going at it, you know, giving his all until like you reach that exhaustion. And that's just something that you don't see in a lot of people. And that's something that's always, I'll call that, you're always gonna be a winner no matter what you do outside of music, whatever you try at, you're gonna be successful because you see it to the end.
Yep.
You know,
You don't give
all,
up and you see it through the end. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, outside of music and learning and all the stuff you're doing, what do you like to do for fun? Like if you got some downtime to yourself, what are you doing to enjoy yourself?
Man, my coolest time is, man, it's so funny, man, because I'm just such a different space. Like, I like watching shows, but I like watching like crime drama, like based on a true story, right?
Yeah.
And like how do they, everything that led up to the arrest, like and stuff. I don't know why. I just always been fascinated. That's kind of like my free time. And then the other thing is too, I got kids. So I always like doing stuff like we do family day and stuff like that. We do different stuff around that. And then the other thing I do is just nitpick myself. Like I just play like little games on my phone that like make you think and like
keep your mind going. Yeah.
Keep my mind going. I'd be like reading. Reading's been my biggest thing. I realized as I got older, I should have read more outside of the course curriculum. Now I read books just because I think it's interesting. Not because it got put on. I'm just like looking on like, you literally can Google anything. That's why I love technology. I don't know why people like this Gen Z. I don't feel like they use technology like everybody else. Like I use technology. I'm like, I didn't grow up with this. I'm like, I can Google like how to this, and it's like literally probably like 10 or 15 books will pop up, and I'm like, oh, and then you start looking at reviews. I'm researching. Okay, this one got like 1,200 reviews, 4 stars. Like I just read it. I just download the book or I buy the book and I just read them. Like, damn, I might find them on IG. Like, damn, they got like, it's so many. It's like billions of people on the internet, and it's so crazy. Like I literally like follow some of my thread, because I understand algorithm. So and people always say, you don't follow me back. Yeah, because I don't see that bullshit. I don't want like other bullshit to pop up on my like. I feel like I have the perfect scroll. Like, and I go through my scroll. It's like educational, motivational, some kind of this and how this. Like that's how I feel like it is when I scroll. And sometimes you go on people like all they see is BBLs and like they all look at this chick, only fan girls, and they're like, that's all I see on mine. Like, yeah, that's how smart technology is. It's showing you what you like. They know what you like already before you like it. So I'm just glad I did like a real thorough cleanup, and I was like, stop. I don't follow like a bunch of people. Like I want to just follow like wholesome, so that way when I go to my timeline, because now like once again the new upgrade, they're just recommending stuff that's similar to that. I didn't even follow this. It's on your feed.
Yep.
So why would I want some crazy? And it'd be funny because once I tune in, I'd be like, man, this person interesting. And I go, they got this coat. They got a coat behind. I'm like, it's just crazy. They got like, I can look in the comment like it's 5,000 people that's rocking with them, right? Like going hard. I've never heard this person. So I always find that interesting. And I was like, damn, man, I'm a fan too. Like, and it's crazy because some people look at me like that. They like, I'll pop on their stuff and then I'll just get like weird DMs like, hey man, that's great, man. That's dope. Congrats. And that's crazy because you got people that you see every day. They won't even say congratulations. They'll say stuff like, why you do it?
Yeah.
Wow. How you do it? Instead of just congratulations.
Yep.
It hurts. Like I said, it goes back to that level of like familiarity. Like they can't say it hurts them to say congrats. Like I don't know why. It's just crazy. But me, I always like, thank you, congrats, man. Like great job. Like I'll always like anybody to tell you about me. Like the reason we got in here, once again, relationship and like people like, man, you always be like, man, you want to do like I want to do an interview. Like I just want you interested. Like yeah, I do it, man. Like shit, why not? Right? I ain't get all cute. And be like, yeah, you book me and get me out the, why? It's so many people that do that shit. It just, it's
definitely funny to me sometimes because we'll ask somebody. Shout out to Sincere. We'll ask somebody to do an interview. They'll be like, well, you're gonna pay you to help you tell your story. But saying, what it takes. Anything else you want to make sure we mention or talk, say before it cuts off for us?
Yeah, I think it was like cutting off. Nut, man. This shout out to everybody, man, that's ever supported me, man. I really appreciate everybody on this driving journey, and I hope everybody still has a process here. We still got a couple more months, so get up and let's get to it.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate your time tonight. I hope you have a great night.
Appreciate you too, boss, man. Thanks, man.